opportunity, greater influence, and a life shaped deliberately rather than accidentally. This is not an exaggerated promise, it is the natural outcome of behavior repeated consistently over time. Continue clicking forward, continue acting with intention, continue honoring your decisions, and allow discipline to quietly deliver what motivation never could: stability, strength, clarity, control, and a future built by choice rather than chance. To awareness, to return to responsibility, and to return to the part of yourself that knows you are capable of more than avoidance, more than excuses, and more than fear. More whole, not because everything is perfect, but because you are learning to accept yourself as you are while still believing in who you are becoming, and this balance between acceptance and growth is the quiet strength that carries you through uncertainty, reminding you that you are not lost. You are learning, not failing, you are evolving, and not alone. You are supported by your own resilience, your own awareness, and your own capacity to rise again and again, with greater understanding and steadier hope. Faithfulness, the faithfulness to show up, to listen, to speak honestly, and to act with compassion. And in this faithfulness, the deepest form of loss is prevented, not by changing fate, but by honoring the present, and not by fighting time, but by using it wisely, because what truly keeps something alive is not hope alone, but attention, not intention alone, but action, and not emotion alone, but the steady choice to care before it is too late to make a difference. Moving whether you act or not, but only your actions decide whether you grow or remain where you are. This is not a warning to scare you, it is a reminder to empower you, to shake you awake, and to tell you that the power to change has always been in your hands. Start now, not because you feel ready, but because your future deserves your effort today. You walk forward knowing that you were created with intention, that you are capable of achieving more than you can currently see, and that the universe is preparing beautiful things that will align perfectly with your growth. You are meant to rise, meant to shine, meant to impact the world simply by being yourself. Continue your journey with hope in your heart and confidence in your spirit, because the best chapters of your life are not behind you, they are waiting ahead, and I am with you in every step you take. Stop making excuses and start making moves is the moment your life begins to change. You do not need permission, you do not need approval, and you do not need perfect conditions. You only need the courage to start and the strength to continue even when it gets hard, because it will get hard, and that is exactly why most people will never reach their potential, but you will, because you are no longer waiting, you are awakening. And when a person awakens to their power, nothing can stop them. Not fear, not failure, not even their own past. Remember that even stars cannot shine without darkness, and one day you will look back and realize that every setback was simply part of the setup for your comeback. Your dreams are calling you because they know you are capable, and the world is waiting for the moment you finally realize that too. Keep going with fire in your heart, possibilities in your mind, discipline in your actions, and faith in your steps, because the life you want is already on its way, and soon, everything will make sense. Take a moment. Slow down. Wherever you are right now, allow yourself to pause. This message is not here to scare you, rush you, or pressure you. It is here to reach you at a time when your mind has been carrying more weight than it shows on the outside. You have been moving forward, but quietly. Carrying responsibilities, expectations, unanswered questions, and moments of doubt that no one else sees. You may not realize it yet, but the fact that you are listening means something inside you is still awake. Still searching. Still hoping. That part of you has not given up, even when everything around you felt heavy. You have been strong for a long time. Strong in ways that don't get applause. Strong in silence. Strong when no one asked how you were really doing. And that kind of strength can become exhausting if it is never acknowledged. So let this be the moment you acknowledge yourself. You don't need to have everything figured out right now. Life does not demand perfection from you. It asks for honesty. It asks for presence. It asks that you keep going, even when the path feels unclear. There have been moments when you questioned your direction. Moments when you wondered if your effort was invisible. Moments when it felt like progress was slower than it should be. But slow progress is still progress. Quiet growth is still growth. You are not behind. You are not late. You are learning timing, patience, and endurance. These lessons are not glamorous, but they are powerful. They shape people who last, not people who fade. You may feel pressure to prove something, to others, to family, to the world. But the most important promise is the one you make to yourself. The promise to not abandon yourself when things become difficult. You have survived days you once thought you wouldn't. You have adapted more times than you remember. You have learned from mistakes that once felt permanent. That is not weakness. That is resilience. Right now, you don't need a miracle. You need clarity. You need calm. You need to reconnect with the part of you that knows how to take the next step, even if the whole staircase isn't visible yet. Breathe. Let go of the noise. Let go of comparisons. Someone else's pace has nothing to do with your journey. Your path is being shaped by experiences only you could handle. You are allowed to rest without quitting. You are allowed to pause without giving up. Rest is not failure. It is preparation. This moment is not asking you to change your entire life overnight. It is asking you to choose intention over autopilot. Awareness over distraction. Purpose over fear. You are capable of more than you've been giving yourself credit for. Not because you are perfect, but because you are persistent. And persistence changes outcomes. As you continue listening, let this message become background support, not pressure. Let it remind you that you are still here, still trying, still becoming. As you stay with this moment, you may notice thoughts trying to pull you away. Worries about what comes next. Memories of what didn't work before. Let those thoughts pass without fighting them. You don't need to solve everything right now. Presence is enough. There is a quiet strength in choosing to stay, to listen, to reflect. Most people rush through life without ever stopping to ask themselves what they truly need. You are doing something different. And that matters more than you realize. You have carried expectations that were never fully yours. Expectations placed on you by circumstances, by others' opinions, by comparisons you didn't ask for. Over time, those expectations can feel heavy. This is your reminder that you are allowed to redefine what success means to you. Success is not just outcomes. It is alignment. It is knowing that your actions reflect your values, even when progress is slow. When you act with integrity, you build something solid beneath your feet. There will be moments ahead when doubt returns. That is normal. Doubt does not mean you are failing. It means you are stretching into unfamiliar territory. Growth always feels uncertain before it feels stable. You don't need to silence doubt completely. You just need to stop letting it make decisions for you. Let commitment guide you instead. Commitment shows up even when confidence is quiet. You may notice how much pressure you put on yourself to have answers. To be certain. To be ready. But readiness often comes after action, not before it. You become ready by moving, not by waiting. Think of how many times you learned by doing. By trying. By adjusting. That same process is still available to you. Nothing about your ability to learn has disappeared. You are allowed to start again without shame. Restarting is not a step backward. It is a step taken with more awareness than before. Each restart carries wisdom you didn't have the first time. Pay attention to the small wins. The moments you follow through. The moments you choose calm over reaction. These moments shape your identity more than dramatic breakthroughs ever could. You don't need validation from everyone. You need alignment with yourself. When those two conflict, choose yourself. That choice builds inner stability. You may feel like you are waiting for a sign, for permission, for reassurance. Let this be your reminder: you don't need permission to take your next step. You are already allowed. Take responsibility gently, not harshly. Responsibility is not blame. It is ownership. Ownership gives you power to change what comes next. You are becoming more aware of your patterns. What drains you? What supports you? Awareness creates options. Options create freedom. Let go of the idea that you must rush. Urgency without clarity leads to burnout. Steady effort with intention leads to progress you can sustain. You are not alone in this experience, even if it feels solitary at times. Many people walk this path quietly. Fewer choose to stay on it. You are one of the ones who stayed. And that choice is shaping your future, whether you see it yet or not. As you remain here, you begin to realize something important. The pressure you've been carrying does not define you. It is simply a response to responsibility, care, and effort. You wouldn't feel this weight if you didn't care. And caring is not a weakness. You start to see how far you've already come. Not just in achievements, but in awareness. You notice things now that you once ignored. Your reactions are softer. Your decisions are more thoughtful. This is growth, even if it doesn't look dramatic. You understand that life does not move in straight lines. Progress comes in waves. There are moments of momentum, followed by pauses that force reflection. Both are necessary. Both teach you something different. You no longer rush to escape discomfort. You sit with it long enough to understand what it's asking of you. Sometimes it's asking for rest. Sometimes for courage. Sometimes for honesty. You learn to listen. You begin to separate what you can control from what you can't. This distinction brings peace. You focus your energy where it actually makes a difference. You release the rest without guilt. You notice how often your mind tries to revisit the past. Old conversations. Old decisions. Old versions of yourself. Instead of getting lost there, you gently return to the present. The present is where your power lives. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You recognize that perfection is often a delay disguised as preparation. You choose progress instead. Imperfect action moves you forward. You learn to measure success differently. Not by how much you impress others, but by how aligned you feel at the end of the day. Alignment brings a quiet satisfaction that external praise never can. You become more selective with your energy. Not everything deserves your reaction. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Protecting your peace becomes a priority, not a luxury. You understand that strength doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like restraint. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like choosing not to respond. You start trusting your instincts again. That inner sense that guides you when logic feels uncertain. You balance intuition with reason, instead of dismissing either. You realize that discipline is not about forcing yourself. It's about making promises small enough to keep and meaningful enough to matter. Consistency builds confidence quietly. You also forgive yourself more easily. Not because mistakes don't matter, but because carrying guilt longer than necessary slows growth. You take the lesson and release the weight. As this awareness deepens, you begin to move through your days with more intention. You notice how your choices feel different when they come from clarity instead of pressure. You are no longer trying to escape discomfort, you are learning to work with it. This creates steadiness. You start to see that patience is not passive. Patience is active trust. It is showing up again and again without demanding immediate results. It is staying committed when outcomes are still forming. This kind of patience builds real strength. You become more honest with yourself about what truly matters. Some goals lose their shine. Others become clearer. You allow priorities to shift without guilt. Growth often means refinement, not accumulation. You learn to listen to your body and your mind. When tension rises, you pause. When fatigue appears, you adjust. This responsiveness keeps you sustainable. You understand that burning out is not proof of dedication, balance is. You begin to recognize patterns in your thinking. When your mind drifts toward worst-case scenarios, you gently bring it back to what is actually happening now. Facts replace fears. This practice creates calm. You also notice how courage shows up quietly. It appears when you make the difficult phone call. When you set a boundary. When you choose honesty over comfort. These moments build self-respect. You stop needing everything to feel certain before you act. You accept reasonable uncertainty. You move forward with what you know, trusting that learning will continue along the way. You understand that progress compounds. Small, repeated actions create momentum over time. You commit to the basics. You show up. You do the work. You rest when needed. You return. You become more comfortable with simplicity. Clear plans. Fewer distractions. Focused effort. Simplicity reduces noise and sharpens results. You also let go of the need to explain yourself to everyone. You choose when to speak and when to stay quiet. Your energy feels more protected. You recognize that comparison steals attention from your own growth. When it arises, you acknowledge it and refocus. Your path deserves your full presence. You begin to feel grounded even when circumstances are unsettled. This inner steadiness becomes your anchor. You don't collapse when plans change. You adapt. You realize that resilience is not about never feeling discouraged. It is about returning to purpose after discouragement passes. You have practiced this many times already. You trust that learning is ongoing. You remain curious. You ask better questions. You refine your approach. This keeps you improving. You continue forward without rush, without avoidance, without self-judgment. You stay consistent. You stay aligned. And step by step, you build a future that matches your values. Day you stand on your success and say, I earned this, your power is real, your dream is real, your growth is real, and these hours are turning your potential into proof, so straighten your back, set your timer, take a deep breath, and lock in, because someone out there is dreaming about the life you are building, and one day they will thank you for proving that it's possible. Keep going. Greatness is already taking shape inside you. As you move forward with this steadiness, something subtle but powerful begins to happen. You stop fighting yourself. The inner resistance that once drained your energy slowly fades. In its place, cooperation grows. Your mind and effort start working together instead of against each other. You notice that your days feel less chaotic. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are more centered. When challenges arise, you don't immediately feel overwhelmed. You respond instead of react. This shift gives you control over your direction. You begin to trust process over pressure. You understand that meaningful outcomes take time, repetition, and patience. You stop rushing results and start respecting effort. This mindset allows consistency to take root. You become clearer about what deserves your attention. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Not every distraction requires a response. Saying no becomes easier when you understand your priorities. You also become more comfortable being misunderstood. You realize that clarity with yourself matters more than approval from others. You release the need to justify every decision. This frees mental space. You start to see effort as an investment, not a burden. Even when progress is slow, you know the work is doing something beneath the surface. Growth often happens quietly before it becomes visible. You develop emotional patience. When frustration appears, you acknowledge it without letting it take over. You give yourself space to feel without losing direction. This emotional balance strengthens resilience. You learn to pace yourself. You stop pushing at unsustainable speeds. You understand that consistency over time is more powerful than short bursts of intensity. This awareness protects your long-term progress. You also notice how confidence builds differently now. It is not loud or forced. It is calm, grounded, reliable. It comes from repeated follow-through, not external praise. You begin to value effort even on days when results are minimal. You understand that showing up matters. Discipline becomes less about force and more about identity. This is simply who you are becoming. You become more intentional with your thoughts. When negativity arises, you question it instead of accepting it automatically. This creates space for healthier perspectives. You recognize that every phase has a purpose. Some phases teach patience. Others teach courage. Others teach clarity. You stop resisting where you are and start learning from it. You continue